Hello everyone. Excuse me. Hello everyone. Hello folks. Welcome to this audio podcast. This audio podcast is part of a Phantom edition. This audio podcast as part of a Labostix Machina. This audio podcast is part of a Vertex Relay. This audio podcast is part of the Abstrax, and this audio podcast as part of a Storm Labostix production. In today as part of this audio podcast, a look at an abstract in regard to polypharmacy and influence on renal insufficiency, and where the sort of where the specific focus is in regard to elderly care However, polypharmacy in sort of its generalities is sort of important important across different populations and different sort of conditions. And so this today's abstract looks at the looks at polypharmacy and influence on renal insufficiency as part of a retrospective systematic review. And so the abstract is as thus. So chronic kidney disease, CKD, is an irreversible, long-standing or long-term condition where reduced renal function is evident, or damaged kidneys are unable to filter blood as per normal physiology. The total cost of CKD the total cost of chronic kidney disease, or CKD, in England, at least in the time between 2009 and 2010, was projected at between 1.44 and 1.45 billion, which was around 1.3% of all NHS National Health Service spending in that specific year. Tech and data algorithms that streamline and integrate medicines management has been important in elderly at risk of renal insufficiency. The objectives around the objectives. The objective of this works was to outline or inform the impact of renal insufficiency owing to polypharmacy, and this works sought to investigate the following. Number one, should there be smarter medicines management to reduce polypharmacy in the elderly? In elderly, can tech and number two, can tech be utilized or used to determine who should be screened for renal insufficiency if toxic drugs, for example, are overprescribed? Three, what are the advantages of tech incorporating algorithms that encourage working? What are the advantages of tech incorporating algorithms that potentially encourage collaborative working? In regard to the methodology, a retrospective systematic review was conducted over a 21-year duration. The critical appraisal skills program, or CASP, was utilized. It was utilized to assess papers or publications. The analysis around this was 1,506 papers or publications were identified through several databases. 1,491 duplicates had been removed, and 44 papers or publications were further scrutinized for integrity. 12 papers or publications were omitted, and nine for additional details, and 23 papers were included after data extraction and synthesis. Six themes had been derived. As part of the conclusions, was where polypharmacy and its influence on renal insufficiency is an enduring issue. Medicines management and screening using appropriate evidence-based tech will and can ultimately reduce a risk of progression, late referrals, and hospital admissions. In regard to sort of the main the terminologies that can be utilized to identify similar works, include to identify similar works are polypharmacy, medicines management, renal insufficiency, tech or technology, and elderly care. That draws this audio podcast to a close. This audio podcast as part of a Phantom Edition. This audio podcast as part of a Labostix Machina. This audio podcast as part of a Vertex ruling. This audio podcast as part of the Abstrax, and this audio podcast as part of this audio podcast as part of a Storm Labostix production.